touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
If you want your news to be straight talking,
this is a nightmare for the Conservatives again.
down to earth,
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
and most importantly, honest,
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This Sunday on GB News Breakfast, we've got a special treat for you.
It's me, Angela Rippon.
For just one morning, the broadcast and Strictly Star joins the breakfast team to bring you all the news as it happens.
Nice positive story then.
Another special day here on GB News.
Well, we're still here after the last one.
GB News Breakfast with me, Stephen Dixon, and Angela Rippon, this Sunday from 6.
Yes, we'll be around for a while.
Hello and welcome to a very special Patrick Christys Tonight with a live studio audience on this evening's show.
White privilege describes advantages and benefits people have simply because they are white.
Britain's Westminster Council is making employees do a white privilege test.
War.
Are we about to get involved with a trade war with President Trump? Also tonight.
And that's why the Labour Party has a fully costed plan to freeze energy bills this winter.
Only Labour offers a plan for real change to cut energy bills for good with GB Energy, our new publicly owned energy company.
This week, every single bill you pay went up, but hey, at least King Charles is here to take your mind off it. Gosh, well, at least it took your mind off this. A jihadi with links to 7/7 is being free because he did a mental health course.
And they're off and racing in the Randox Grand National of 2024.
This year's Grand National is tomorrow, but how many men genuinely think they can outrun a horse? Oh, and what happened with a bald man and a very horny hawk? But it's time to meet the real stars of my show, my wonderful live studio audience. Play those tiles. Coming. Well done. All right, okay, well, here we are, everybody. Your Friday night starts now, yes it does. If you're not here, why the heck are you not here? Come on down next week. Anyway, let me introduce my wonderful panel. Not that they need any introduction. We have the Labour MP for Brent West, the one and only Barry Gardner. We have former Tory MP and GB News superstar Miriam Cates. We have broadcasting royalty, Christo Fufas. And the one and only reporter extraordinaire, JJ Anasoba. Brilliant. All right, well, I don't know about you, everybody, but I quite fancy nipping down the pub. So, shall we just check in where he is? Adam Brooks with Big Marcus. Look at that. Well done. OK, well, I've got a couple of surprises up my sleeve this evening as well. We're going to have a very special message from another GB News star and a fan favourite. I'll keep you teased for that. And we have got a vegetable orchestra who are going to be playing in honour of course, our dear King's performance earlier on. Look, this is really the only place to be on a Friday night, so we're going to get stuck in right after we've heard your headlines from Sophia Wensler.
Patrick, thank you. Your headlines at 9 o'clock. The UK's leading stock market suffered its worst daily drop in more than 5 years in the wake of Donald Trump's tariffs. The FTSE 100 closed 4.95% down, a level not seen since the start of the COVID pandemic in March 2020. It comes as US markets have tumbled again as US President Donald Trump said China played it wrong by retaliating to his tariffs. Trump said he understands China is not very happy about tariffs imposed on it, but said that he would retaliate. Meanwhile, Mr. Trump has extended the deadline for the sale of TikTok for 75 days, saying tremendous progress had been made, but more work was needed to secure approvals. Trump added that he looked forward to working with TikTok and China to close the deal and that he did not want the app to go dark. In other news, comedian and actor Russell Brand has been charged with rape and sexual assault. Scotland Yard charged Brand with historic sexual offences after a year-and-a-half-long police investigation. The former presenter, who has been living in the United States since February, is accused of sexually abusing 4 women in London and Bournemouth between 1999 and 2005. They include rape, oral rape, indecent assault and 2 counts of sexual assault. 50-year-old Brand will appear at Westminster Magistrates Court on the 2nd of May. Meanwhile, Brand has responded to the charges, addressing his 11.3 million followers on X. He said, "What I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity." Now, Buckingham Palace has said the King was not aware of Prince Andrew's alleged links to a Chinese spy. It comes after a new document claims that the King was aware of an investment fund in which Yang Tengbo, the alleged spy, was directly involved. Tengbo was excluded from the UK on national security grounds by the then Home Secretary Suella Braverman in March of 2023. A Buckingham Palace spokesperson has responded, saying while His Majesty met with the Duke and his advisor to hear outline proposals for independent funding over the past year, the individual known as H6 was not mentioned at any time or in any way as part of these discussions. And a mother who suffocated her newborn baby 25 years ago has been spared jail after admitting manslaughter due to postnatal depression. Joanne Sharkey was traced through DNA after her other son was arrested decades later. The baby boy, named Callum by police, was found in woodland near a theme park in Warrington in 1998. Now 55, Sharkey received a suspended sentence after the judge said her mental state was substantially impaired by her judgment. Her family wept in court as the judge called the case terrible and tragic, but said compassion was needed. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now it's back to Patrick.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
To my live Friday night audience, so thank you very much everybody for being here. We've got a heck of a lot to get stuck into, don't we? So do you remember when Prime Minister Keir Starmer said this?
It's about making sure that people feel better off. And I have in my lifetime working people like you who are struggling with the cost of living crisis.
Do you remember that he had fully costed plans to fix your energy bills?
And that's why the Labour Party has a fully costed plan to freeze energy bills.
Only Labour offers a plan for real change to cut energy bills for good with GB Energy, our new publicly owned energy company.
Chancellor Rachel Reeves is adamant she'll make you £500 better off.
People will be, on average, over £500 a year better off under this Labour government.
Of course, this is all for the working class, isn't it? The working man and woman out there. But Sorry, Sakir, what is working class?
Describe yourself as working class. Sakir, define working class.
No, working class is families that work for their living, earn their money through going out to work every day, not through other
Not middle
means.
classes do that?
Well,
OK, so remember all of that stuff. Remember that all, everybody. We were all told that, all right? So, what happened this week, then? Well, every single bill you pay went up. Shall we have a little look? Your energy bills. Up, aren't they? Yes. Your council tax. Up. Yes. Your water bills. Up. Your car tax. Up. Your phone bill. Up. Your broadband. Up. Stamp duty, especially for first-time buyers, and shock horror, Keir Starmer, lower income, some would say working-class people. Up, isn't it? There we go now. OK, all right. Does anyone here feel as though the Prime Minister might have lied to you? Yes. Right, OK. Well, let's see what our wonderful panel think about all of this, and I'll get an audience question in early doors. Miriam, do you think the public have a right to feel lied to? Every single bill's gone up.
I think the public have a right to feel misled about the power that politicians actually have over these things, because we're talking about inflation, and inflation does have an international element. We know that from COVID, from the Ukraine war. That's the truth. But the main reason for inflation is government spending. And our government has spent billions and billions of pounds that we don't have over the last 30, 40, 50 years. And the way that we pay that off is a tax called inflation. And it's a tax that nobody's voted for, and it's basically theft. The government prints money, prices go up, and we all pay that tax, regardless of whether we want to. Now, I don't doubt that Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves want to reduce household bills. Why wouldn't they? But the fact that the Bank of England printed £400 billion just in COVID means they can't do it. They can't. Inflation is here to stay because we're in debt, and that's the economic truth.
Yeah, Christo, I think many people will feel as though this is a tax on the working class, isn't it, which we were told wouldn't happen.
And do you know what's so frustrating about all of this? I am going to call it lies, but I'm also going to call it gaslighting, because we get constant tweets from them. You know, Rachel Reeves saying, oh, I've given you all a bit of a pay rise, promise made, promise kept, and it's just nonsense.
There you go. The first round of applause of the night there, that's brilliant.
But it's just absolute nonsense. The other thing that really irritates me about this is that they will say that they inherited the economy in a dreadful state, when actually, OK, it wasn't brilliant, but it was in a better state than it is now. And also, all of the measures that have created this inflation, they were in favour of. The COVID measures and all of the printing money. Labour wanted that to happen. So it's as if they've got into power and said, oh, you have no idea about it.
Labour may have wanted it to happen, but they weren't the ones in power at the time who made the decisions for where we are at now. And the economy was not in a better position when before Labour took over. It's not as if they took this amazing Great Britain and our GDP was growing, flourishing. It wasn't. The Tories had been through, what, 4 different Prime Ministers because they're doing such a bad job? Miriam hit the nail on the head. Unfortunately, the politicians, Keir Starmer and co, made promises and pledges that they thought they could seriously achieve. But the world has changed since then, and circumstances have changed, and this is where we are now.
OK, go on. Was the economy growing or not growing when Labour came into power?
Not growing.
It was growing.
No, it was not growing. No, it wasn't.
GDP per capita has been going down.
We had the fastest growing economy in the G7.
It's smoke and mirrors.
No, I'm sorry. It was.
Let's get to the audience.
Brilliantly, but it was growing.
All right, guys, we love to see it. Keep this energy up, but I do want to bring our first audience member in now. So, sir, could you just introduce yourself? Who are you, and what would you like to say? What would you like to ask?
Yep. Hi, guys. My name's Alan. My question is, I've been watching the FTSE tumble for 2 days now. My bills are going up quarter on quarter. What is going to happen now when the FTSE is going down? What is that relationship between the tariffs that the US are bringing in versus my household bills, which are already unaffordable? What's going to happen in the future? How is that the relationship going to work?
Barry?
No, I knew you'd come to me. Because you've sidelined me from answering.
No, I assume you do what you do best, which is crowbar it back in. So, yeah.
So, you've gone through how the bills have risen this week. This week, 3 million people got a pay rise in the national minimum wage. That is worth £1,400. £1,400 a year to them. We've had the Breakfast Club announcement. That's saving parents £450 a year. We've had the triple lock, which the Conservatives wouldn't say that they were going to preserve, which we've said we are, which is £470 a year. You had the car tax on there. Well, we actually froze the fuel duty. That saves you about £60 a year. And actually, later on this year, we've announced that with the new expansion of the childcare places and the payment of the payment of vouchers to people for 30 hours a week for parents to have their kids from 9 months to 5 years in childcare, that is worth to parents £7,500. So you've totted up the negative. All right. I'm totting up.
Good. Well done.
Now I'll try and answer.
Well, do you want to come back to that first?
Yeah, exactly.
Go on, come back to that.
I've not heard the word tariffs yet, Barry.
Well, I think that's what he's about to do.
and let's talk about that.
Yeah. My question is, household bills are going up, tariffs have come in, last couple of days, answer me that going forward. Yeah. Right, the past is done. Right. You've done a lot of good things, but for me, I'm worried now going forward.
And we're all right to be worried about tariffs. And it's not just the fact that we've got 10% and others have got more and all the rest of it. Agreed. Because what's going to happen is other countries around the world who've got 34% tariffs on their goods, they're going to say, oh, we can't get them into the United States anymore. Where can we put them? Oh, maybe we can shunt some of our products off to other countries instead of the United States. So there's something called trade diversion or leakage, right? Which means that China and Cambodia and Vietnam, who are paying these really high tariff rates, will be wanting to dump their cheap products in here into the UK and to other places. So we've got to be very careful about how we protect our own producers, our own manufacturers in this country, because that's jobs and growth that will be affected by those tariffs.
Just because I heard a couple of other noises from the audience there, as you were talking about some of the benefits you were saying, or quite literally in some cases, benefits that people are getting. And people were saying, well, who's paying for it? Who's paying for it? And actually, people who go out and earn a living are paying for it, aren't they?
Well, not the minimum wage, that's employers. I mean, I personally disagree with raising the minimum wage for all sorts of reasons. I think it's cutting young people, particularly out of jobs. But nevertheless, it's not taxpayers that pay the increase in minimum wage. It is businesses that have to comply
and I disagree with the national minimum wage as well, because actually I don't see why you and I as taxpayers should be subsidising the wage bill of companies who say they're making a profit. If you're an efficient company, you shouldn't need to have your wage bill subsidised by us.
Go on, if the minimum wage, good or bad, of course taxpayers pay the minimum wage through the higher prices that they've got to pay in order to pay the staff. Secondly, there are so many small business owners that barely earn the minimum wage because they earn so little money.
It all swings and roundabouts because of our welfare state, if people earned lower wages, they get topped up more by benefits. I mean, lots of people on universal credits are earning. It's just that their wages are so low that it topped them up. So, you know, there are many ways to skin a cat. It doesn't really make much difference, except it's red tape for business.
One other quick thing on your point. Breakfast clubs, I mean, a lot of people would say, well, actually, I would rather the money be in our pocket than the state
and
taking the responsibility
at home with their families.
To give breakfast to children. We all would. Why is the state doing that?
I want to ask here, do people feel as though you're paying too much in things like council tax?
Yeah.
Right, OK. Do you feel as though you, throughout your lives, are subsidising other people? Yes. OK, I mean, JJ, I mean, this is the thing. You see bills going up like I've just rattled off there, and OK, Barry's made the counterpoint, fair play, but see those bills going up, and we were told by Labour categorically, well, energy bills could be fixed as well. This is the social contract we're talking about here. People who work hard, pay their way, feel as though they're paying far too much.
I think we'd be OK with the council tax. I mean, the council tax, for me, it's something like £250 a month, something crazy. I'd be OK with it if my local area seems like it was doing well, but there's potholes everywhere. I'm cycling on my bike, having to look on the road to dodge the holes because so where's the money going? The bins get collected most of the time, but sometimes they leave some stuff around. The council tax I'm paying, I can't see where it's going to, and that's part of the problem.
Why we need to bring back the poll tax. Margaret Thatcher was right.
The money is going on adult social care. I mean, that's where council money is going.
It should be about the number of adults that live in a household rather than the size of the house, which bears no relevance to the services that house uses.
But, Christo,
bring back Maggie.
You do know that actually they've surveyed all the councils in England, and they found that on average, Labour councils cost £300 less than Conservative.
Well, you could have paid me to live in Birmingham at the minute, to be fair, rats the size of dogs rampaging through
We're
the
not
street.
supposed to talk about the local elections, but there you are.
A sudden ad break.
Well, actually, in fact, I'm going to get shouted at for that. Anyway, I'll tell you what I've got now. This is actually very special. This is very special, and this is really the reason why you all came. I know why. Because it is time for the Great British Giveaway. Now, you are all incredibly lucky this evening. Incredibly lucky, because a bit like the DFS sale, as you all know, it never ends. But we've decided to get a new prize tonight. Ooh. And it's the best one we've ever given away. It's your chance to drive away with a brand new 4-berth motorhome worth £67,000. £67,000. No, we'll also give you £3,000 in cash as well. If you want the chance to become our biggest ever... £5,000 in cash. £5,000 in cash. Yeah, absolutely. Trust the socialists to spot the money there. Anyway, here's how you can be in it to win it.
We're making the Great British Giveaway a getaway with a chance to win our biggest prize to date. You could be the proud owner of this Alneg Baron 560 motorhome, worth over £67,000. Supplied brand new from Marquis Leisure, you could be exploring Great Britain and beyond this summer and making memories to last a lifetime. This motorhome comfortably sleeps 4, has its own kitchen and bathroom spaces, and comes complete with all of the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle of this calibre. And that's not all, as we'll also give you £5,000 in tax-free cash so you can get started on your next adventure as soon as possible. For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, good luck, everybody. I mean, I'm going to break the GB News rules and I'm going to enter that myself. And if I win it, then so be it. I won't need a job anymore, will I? Because I can drive around in my new motorhome. But anyway, I don't mean that. Coming up... Goodness gracious me. Haroon Aswat was linked to the 2005 London bombings, and he is set to be released from prison, despite being deemed by everyone who's ever met him to be a national security risk. Apart from that is, of course, the judge. So, should we ever release jihadis? That's next.
The royal family is an enduring symbol of tradition, unity and pride for Britain. At GB News, we celebrate what makes this country great. In our new Royal Newsletter series, you can join me, Cameron Walker, for Inside the Palace, an exclusive look every week that takes you beyond the gates and brings you the very latest from those at the heart of the monarchy. Never miss a royal moment again. Sign up now. Go to gbnews.com/royal newsletter and get the latest straight to your inbox.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's Newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
Grandma was taking Violet Grace crossing the road and got hit by a driver. What speed was he doing?
At 83 miles an hour in a 30 zone. Violet was thrown 50 metres up in the air, up the road. She, went to hospital and sadly, she had brainstem death plus other injuries. And sadly passed away and donated her organs on the 26th. It was Mother's Day that year, so she donated her organs to save the life.
And the monster who was driving that car got 9 years and 4 months.
How did that make you feel?
Well, he did. On the face of it, he got 9 years and 4 months, but actually he got discounts for pleading guilty, even though within 3 hours he was on a flight to Amsterdam because he wanted to go and clear his head and smoke some weed.
You have 2 other small children, but what has the impact been on your life, and how might it have been different if you felt like justice had been served?
I think for us, and this is one of the reasons we're campaigning for us, I don't think any sentence would have been enough. But what we're trying to do with the campaign is what would have made us feel better if we would have felt protected and looked after as victims. You know, we were in court, we were told we get to write what's called a victim impact statement, where it's supposed to be you as a victim, how this crime has affected your life. We were told we had to edit it. We were told we couldn't call him a child killer, which he was. He'd already pled guilty to, but wasn't sentenced, so we weren't allowed to call it him. Becky wanted to talk about all violence injuries. We were told we weren't allowed to do that because it might upset him in court. It might...
Hang on, might upset who? The killer?
Aidan McAteer and Dean Brennan, might upset them in court because we have to keep it as a level thing and stuff. No, so already, as victims, we were feeling this is supposed to be a victim impact statement. This is supposed to be us telling you how the court and the judge, so we can sentence properly, how it's affected our lives. So already we were told not to expect that.
The People's Channel.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is a nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, and as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
4.2 million people in this country are living in hygiene poverty. That means they are having to daily make a choice between putting food on the table for themselves and their family, paying the rent, paying their bills, and buying the basic everyday essentials we all rely on.
And there must be such a stigma attached to, well, there is, we know that, to hygiene as well, because this isn't talked about. I mean, we're talking here this morning, 1 in 12 British people have to make a decision between eating and washing, but we never hear about that, do we? It's not spoken about.
You're absolutely right. We have, scarily normalised the conversation about food poverty and fuel poverty in this country. And what my charity, the Hygiene Bank, wants to do is to take one step on that road to ending hygiene poverty by abolishing VAT on soap, treating it as the basic staple that we all, need every day. It's the first line of defence against illness and disease. Helps to keep us all safe.
And it's a confidence thing as well, isn't it? If people are really struggling, that can affect your confidence and mental health and all the rest of it. But if you also know there's even the slight possibility of not smelling fresh, for example, but I mean that can totally destroy you in a workplace.
Completely, and we hear every day about children who are bullied in school or who are not going to school because their uniform isn't clean or they feel stinky. They're being bullied by their peers. We know that 13% of people living in hygiene poverty have avoided work for exactly that reason. 9% of people have avoided going to a job interview, and that's so wrong because it is trapping you in your difficulties. Hygiene poverty is limiting life chances, it's blocking opportunities, it's stopping people find a way out of the hard times they find themselves in. And the thing that I always remind myself is that we're all actually only one step away from this.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christys tonight, and here we do things differently. It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it? It's explosive. I mean, this is very good. It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial. And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born. It's everything you need to kickstart your evening. Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it. That's Patrick Christys tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
The royal family is an enduring symbol of tradition, unity and pride for Britain. At GB News, we celebrate what makes this country great. In our new royal newsletter series, you can join me, Cameron Walker, for Inside the Palace, an exclusive look every week that takes you beyond the gates and brings you the very latest from those at the heart of the monarchy. Never miss a royal moment again. Sign up now. Go to gbnews.com/royal newsletter and get the latest straight to your inbox.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
The surveillance, exactly what you said, sir. It's about the level of surveillance that he is now under, and that's what we need to know. And we need to know that if he is schizophrenic and not taking his medication, there needs to be a regime in which his freedom from being put into a place of mental detention, a mental home, is subject to him taking
He's
the
not
medication.
your garden variety nutter, though, is he, this guy? You know, he took phone calls from the 7/7 bombers on the morning before they blew themselves up. He was mates with hook-handed hate cleric Abu Hamza, set up a training camp in the Middle East, you know, shortly before 9/11. I mean, this guy is bang at it. And also, as well, is apparently, as recently as 2017, still you know, loving Al-Qaeda. I'm just going to ask you, what do you make, so you got the microphone there, what's your thoughts?
If he's got such extreme ideology, why do we want to take the risk that he's going to commit such mass crimes that he has done before? Then poor families, how do we explain to them that we're doing our best to be able to protect our country if we're letting them people out on the streets?
I guess it's also about, has he been more or less radicalised in prison? Because there's a big argument to say that in prison is a bit
That story today, sorry to cut across you, but it's important because there is a story out today which is that the people are being kept in isolation, aren't they?
Yeah.
In solitary because of, Islamist gangs in prison. There is a disproportionate number of people who are in those Islamist gangs. If you decide not to join one of them, then you can end up in solitary confinement.
And it was, I think, part of that story, I think think it was reported that Levi Belfield, of course, one of the most heinous, horrific criminals, has now converted to Islam because otherwise, well, I don't know why, but of course, you're quite right. Those that don't are then put into isolation. So there is a big problem in our prisons about this. And also, to your point about whether we let people out, there's also the financial cost. If we're going to have to put this person under surveillance for the next however many years, what is that actual cost to do that?
But, as Barry said, the crime that he committed, however horrific it was, no matter how sick we think he is, he's served his time. And the quote you're saying about, well, in 2017 he said this and said that, that was 8 years ago. We are not medical professionals. The judge is not a medical professional, but he would have been a...
The actual medical professional did say he poses a risk.
Yeah.
So you get the microphone.
This is in 2025.
In the latest report, no, but I agree with what you're saying. This, to me, it's like, what the heck is this judge doing? But, I don't know.
Sorry.
No, go on.
But this is why it is a complex question, because... And this is why, really, the best place for him is a mental institution, because Barry's right. He got the sentence, he served the sentence. Now, we can sit here and argue that he should serve all life in prison, and that there's a case for that, but we still need to differentiate between the sentences. He wasn't the one who actually did the terrorist act. Do you want all terrorists to go to prison for life? Yes. Well, then there has to be a lower tariff for someone who doesn't actually go through with it. Otherwise, everyone will just go through with it if there's the same risk. So we have to be very careful what we're talking about here. It's actually very complex.
There's a lady at the back there who I think would like to make a point, and I'll let JJ, you come back to whatever it is that she has to say. So what's going on for you?
I think, moving away from the precise nature of the question, the problem is the perception that people have. I listened to a very interesting interview today on Planet Normal with Alison Pearson, was interviewing the husband of a lady who was banged up for 31 months for making a very distasteful and unpleasant tweet. And exactly what's happened to her in terms of she hasn't been, the parole doesn't seem to be interested. She wasn't even given bail, etc., etc. Now, I'm not condoning what she said or what she did, right? But I'm just saying that when the great British public see this kind of thing going on, hear this kind of thing, and yes, you're quite right, he's paid his price, he's gone to prison, etc., etc. There's something that niggles at people, and this going back to this two-tier system. And I think this is something that affects the social contract in this country, it affects social cohesion, it affects who we are.
Yep.
And that's how I feel.
So I would say that the problem we have is that we, the British public, sometimes think we know better than the judges and the medical professionals. We can go through every case and sentencing that's happened over the last 50 years, and we're going to see things going, and we'll say, that's not fair. And then you look into the details of it, you look into the precedent that's been sent previously, and it makes sense for the judge to have arrived at that decision. I presume, with the faith I have in our judicial system, that the judge has made the right decision based on everything that he's been presented with.
But I think that is breaking down. I think an awful lot of people do not have faith in what the judges say. I did law at universities. I have faith. I was brought up believing in the, the justice system.
But in the same way, for the last 30 years, people like me have had no faith in the police. And people most people didn't think anything of it until a police officer then kidnaps and kills a white girl, and now everyone thinks the police are bad people. So I think
two wrongs don't make a right.
No, they don't. But we still have to believe.
That.
But we still have to believe that at the heart of it, the best judges and most judges are doing the right thing, and most police officers are doing the right thing.
So I would just like at this particular... No, that's fine. At this particular point, I think it might be interesting for people in this studio and for viewers and listeners at home to know that I actually know this lady quite well. Could you stand up for me, please? This is my mother-in-law.
For my sins.
So would anyone like to ask her a question?
Why did you let your daughter...
I think I was under the influence of hallucinogenic drugs.
Well, thank you very much, Karen, anyway. All right, well, there we go. Now you can see where Emily gets it from. Let's roll straight on to the next story. So Glasgow City Council is warning that the asylum system in the UK is wrecking social cohesion. So the councillor's convener for the homeless has said that the authority is now contemplating requesting a pause on asylum dispersals. Well, this is quite interesting, really, because Glasgow, of course, has been under the thumb, as Scotland has, by the SNP for quite a long time. They wanted to turn Scotland, quotes, into a place of sanctuary. In fact, Hamza Yusuf wants to go one step further and even open up the country for Gazan refugees. And now we have a situation where they are literally crumbling under the weight of their own ideology. But I promised you that we'd have a little message from a GB News fan favourite, and he really is. So Mark White is about to join us down the line, and he's got a message for you, but also he's going to bring you a little bit of an update exclusively here to this show on what went on in the channel today. So, Mark, take it away.
Well, hello there to our GB News audience. Thank you so very much for coming down to join us here at GB News Centre. It's always a pleasure to have you. Serious face on now, though, because I can tell you that 150 more migrants have crossed the English Channel illegally today. That's 150 more who'll be going into a luxury hotel near you. But don't worry, if you can't get to your hotel bar because it's being used by migrants instead, just come down here and join Patrick. He's always glad to have you.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Mark White, everybody. Yeah. We're going to stack it with another GB News fan favourite. This time, we're going to go down the pub and speak to Adam Brooks and hopefully Big Marcus. And I think, well, we're going to find out how Big Marcus feels about the asylum situation. So there we go.
Housing is for people that hit hard times. It's for people that are born here that hit hard times. Some are benefits, you know, we've had enough, and it's actually good to see that some of these people in authority are cottoning on to the problems.
Well, Adam, this is the direct result of illegal immigration and far too much immigration. The people who are born in this country and Scotland are the ones who will be pushed back to the back of the queue, and they're the ones who are ultimately going to suffer.
Well, there you go. That's what people down the pub are saying. I can guarantee that's the 3 cults, by the way, and you do need to get yourself down there. But I guarantee you that kind of conversation is taking place in every single pub up and down the country, just possibly not in Islington, where, of course, they will still not take anyone into their own homes. But does anyone here feel as though we are taking too many quotes-unquote asylum seekers as a country? People feel? Yes. People feel pretty nice about that. OK, Miriam, I mean, is this, to be fair, Scotland's fault? They've voted for people whose ideologies has continued to demand more of this, and now they're saying, sorry, we've ruined it.
Well, I think what's happened is the virtue signalling has not survived contact with reality, has it? And they've made all these claims that they want to be a city and a country of sanctuary, but actually the reality of it is that it's been incredibly difficult and destabilising, as it has in so many areas. But, I mean, this isn't just Scotland's problem, is it? You know, I think there are 38,000 asylum seekers in hotels across the country. It isn't that we are taking them, it's that they're coming here, and we haven't solved this problem yet. And the last government tried to implement the Rwanda plan to create this deterrent where people would be instantly detained and then deported so that the gang's business model would be stopped. Labour ditched that plan and haven't come up with a better one, and the flow continues, and it will continue until there is a serious deterrent. And places like Glasgow and all sorts of other places are going to have to continue taking asylum.
Do you think there's a certain irony that when the Tories were desperate, or at least they said they were anyway, to stop illegal immigration and to stop people claiming asylum, you had people like Hamza Yusuf saying that kind of ideology was far right, and then now in Glasgow they've asked for a pause, but that's just because, oh well, we need a pause, we all want a pause, but that makes us racist.
No, look, it doesn't make anybody racist, but I do think we have to distinguish between people who are asylum seekers and people who are economic migrants who are coming here to try and work in our economy and do that. And what we have is we don't have a system that is able to separate those. And that's a real problem, because the economic migrants are coming over in the small boats with those people who are also asylum seekers. And that's why we do need a new international settlement. The Dublin Convention, 1951 Convention, is not up to the job that it has to do today. And unfortunately, to get a new convention means that governments have to sit down and agree a new way of dealing with this. And that doesn't happen overnight. It's very difficult to make it happen. On the specifics about Glasgow, and I know in my own area, I've just got a letter from the Home Office, from the Minister in the Home Office, saying that they're no longer going to be contracting with the hotel in my area, and a lot of this is going on across the country, and those contracts are going to end. What I want to know is, well, what provision is going to be made?
Can I give you an update on that? Because actually, and I'll put this to you, Christo, because this is an article that broke on GB News about an hour ago. Hotels across London, sorry to make it London-centric for everyone at home, but I imagine this is coming to you soon, wherever you are. So hotels across London are threatening to evict hundreds of migrants after failing to receive contracted payments from the Home Office. This is what they claim. So basically, it looks like they might turf them out, Christo, and then, well, it's not good for anyone, is it, really?
Well, no, and the problem as well that you've got with Glasgow is that the reason that a lot of asylum seekers end up in Scotland is because Scotland has different rules where they have an obligation to house young men. Now, social housing across the rest of the UK doesn't have provision for young men. So a lot of young male asylum seekers, which of course we are seeing many of the people who come here to be young men, end up going up to Glasgow, which is why it's being absolutely flooded by young men. And I mean, I think it's interesting that in a week, I think it was last week, where you reported that the most number of migrants had come over the channel. But it was also the week that Labour were sort of fanfaring that they'd sent the most back. Well, if the most are coming, then sending the most back isn't that much of an achievement, is it really?
No, but there was also a lie involved in there as well, because the amount that they sent...
No, I don't believe that. Being honest, no.
Was 24,000, and it turned out actually, I think 3,600 of them were in forced returns, and the rest had gone voluntarily, obviously with a bit of pressure. But JJ, how do you feel? Because some people might think, well, if you do vote for an area where they say, oh, refugees, well, I mean, Glasgow, of course, is the part of where those people surrounded an immigration van, didn't they? And got people out the back of it, people who overstayed their visas, and they said, oh, no, and it was all this way, brilliant, yeah, let's keep them here, keep them here. Well, now you haven't got any housing, and people are living in tent cities on the streets, and crime's gone up.
So if I'm honest, I think the previous government were too soft on the young men who are coming over, because they're ruining it for the genuine asylum seekers. My grandmother was moved to Denmark as a midwife because Denmark was short of midwives at the time. Last year, Denmark only, I think it was 860 asylum seekers they processed through. They have a system over there that's very strict, and people criticise it, but I think it works. They want to preserve Danish culture, Danish customs and Danish attitude in society as it is. So for that to happen, they let in a very small amount of migrants and asylum seekers, and they assimilate completely with Denmark as a culture. And that, for me, I mean, I go to Denmark all the time. So that's the home of my grandmother. It works, and that's what we should be doing more of in this country.
All right. Well, good. Brilliant. Guys, thank you very, very much for listening so far. It's been absolutely lovely. Well done to everyone in the studio audience, everyone who's chipped in. Feel free to grab the microphone for the next section. But coming up, I am going to be doing a white privilege test live on air.
Get your mother-in-law to do it.
So we'll see how it goes. But next.
Prince Harry authorized the release of a damaging piece of news. That is an example of harassment and bullying at scale.
Well, the Prince Harry row is rumbling on. It's more than tit for tat. There's been actually interesting developments today, and we're just going to have to wait and see what happens, but expect more court cases. Stay tuned.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
After some very strong winds in recent days in the Canaries, things looking a little calmer as we head into next week. Plenty of sunshine over the central Med. There's a weather front approaching Madeira. That'll bring some rain later on through the weekends. Plenty of showers over northern Spain on Saturday, but much of the south of Spain dry and sunny. Some of those showers could affect Barcelona. Plenty of showers across Greece and Turkey as well. Quite a sunny Saturday for Italy. Temperatures rising in Barcelona by Sunday before turning colder next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Evening. Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. The sunny skies that many of us have had through this week will continue through the weekend, but then so will that slightly frustrating wind. It's all thanks to high pressure sitting to the north, bringing the settled weather, bringing the sunshine, but the winds go clockwise around high pressure, so drawing in some cooler air from the North Sea, and that will also generate a little bit of mist and low cloud. That's going to spill in through the night, making for a very grey start to Saturday across the Midlands, eastern England and eastern Scotland. It'll be a chilly start as well, certainly through some sheltered glens. We'll have a frost maybe down to -3 or -4, +3, +4 in most towns and cities. It will be a drab start over the East Midlands, much of eastern England and eastern Scotland, and this ha may well stick around for a good chunk of the day on the coast, but inland it should clear away. Chilly start, yes, as I mentioned, a touch of frost, but a cracking day on the west coast of Scotland. Plenty of sunshine again for Northern Ireland, West Wales, Northwest England, Southwest England too, but it will be a cloudy start for parts of the Midlands and eastern England. Pretty hopeful that mist and low cloud will break up pretty sharply through the morning, so that certainly by late morning it's sunny almost everywhere, just with the potential for some of this mist and low cloud to stick to some North Sea coast with that breeze coming in. Now that breeze will have an impact on the day. It'll look fine and sunny, it'll look quite warm, but it'll feel cooler because of that breeze. We should still get to 18, 19, perhaps even 20 across the south, but that wind will make it feel fresher. Those North Sea coasts, some places are going to stick in single digits, and that wind will really make it feel quite fresh. That breeze is still there across eastern Scotland and the Northern Isles on Sunday. Again, some ha at times, but again, for most places, Sunday's another cracking day. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures are touched down, but the winds are a little bit lighter on Sunday. The winds are easing through next week, and the sun, for most of us, will continue to shine.
The royal family is an enduring symbol of tradition, unity and pride for Britain. At GB News, we celebrate what makes this country great. In our new royal newsletter series, you can join me, Cameron Walker, for Inside the Palace, an exclusive look every week that takes you beyond the gates and brings you the very latest from those at the heart of the monarchy. Never miss a royal moment again. Sign up now. Go to gbnews.com/royal newsletter and get the latest straight to your inbox.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
This Sunday on GB News Breakfast, we've got a special treat for you.
It's me, Angela Rippon.
For just one morning, the broadcast and Strictly Star joins the breakfast team to bring you all the news as it happens.
Nice positive story then.
Another special day here on GB News.
Well, we're still here after the last one.
GB News Breakfast with me, Stephen Dixon, and Angela Rippon, this Sunday from 6.
Yes, we'll be around for a while. Absolutely lovely this Friday night audience. So thank you so much, everybody who is here. Now, Prince Harry has come out swinging, claiming that he welcomes the charity watchdog's robust inquiry, and he and the trustees fully expect that the inquiry will unveil the truth that collectively forced us all to resign. The Commission was opened an investigation into Centre Ballet to examine concerns raised by its head, Sophie Chandauka. Well, basically, he was accused of bullying, harassment, not doing enough behind the scenes, all of that stuff. He says it's all unfounded. How do we feel about this? Because this is quite bad news for Prince Harry, isn't it? Do we have any Prince Harry fans in the audience? No, we've not. Oh, yes, good, OK.
Oh,
good, OK, so we've got 1, 2, 3 there. And do we have any people who really don't like the guy? OK, all right, a few others, all right. So, Christys, how do you feel about what Prince Harry's going to do? I mean, it's quite a bad look if he can't even get on with the CEO of a charity for kids with AIDS that his mum was founded in the name of his mum.
Yeah, so he founded this charity that he's now... And this is different, by the way, to the African Parks charity, where there was an investigation into the rape and torture of park rangers, in which that he was on the board, previously president of that charity as well. So there was that. And of course, there was no question that he knew of anything that was happening there. So there was that sort of unsavoury stuff. Now there's the Centre Barley stuff where he's saying, look, he hopes the truth will be uncovered and that there was no bullying, that it's all lies. And that's after, of course, we heard, remember Meghan, when she was accused of bullying, but that was all lies as well. And then there was also the race, that's all lies. It's amazing, these two people, about the number of lies that seem to be around them. Or could it be that they're just vile?
The problem... Well,
could it be that, maybe?
The problem for Prince Harry now is that because of this, despite what he might say, because there's going to be a big independent watchdog investigation, what a lot of people wanted was the results of the actual investigation into Meghan Markle's alleged bullying at Buckingham Palace to be revealed. But because it was the palace, they didn't reveal it. Well, now this is going to take place in full view of the British public. Should he be worried, do you think, JJ?
He should be worried because it's horrible accusations. Nobody wants to be called a bully. But, again, everyone has their own truth of the matter. In my line of work as a journalist, if I speak to someone in Gen Z and I'm critical of their work, they would accuse me of bullying them. By the way I'm speaking, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I told Christo, I hate that pocket square, he's not going to go and... Well, he might cry about it,
I would
but...
take it as a compliment. I would be completely fine.
So I think...
Both got pocket squares. Have you noticed that?
They're very coordinated.
Yeah, they're colour coordinated.
Thank you. We got ready together this morning. You asked me not to say anything, sorry.
Oh, we've had at least one GB News revelation there. There's a gentleman on the front row here. We haven't got a huge amount of time, but what's your views on Prince Harry, then, with this?
I think this is just more negative press that he probably doesn't need.
He doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I tell you what, let's get the microphone as well back over here. So because. Do you think Prince Harry is being harshly treated?
I don't know the specifics in this case, but generally, absolutely, yeah. Like, he lost his mother in tragic circumstances. He's been put on a pedestal that he was never meant to be there, and he's a normal guy. So, absolutely, I've got massive sympathy with him. But specific for this case, I can't really say. So,
no, sir, I'm afraid you're talking out of your annus horribilis. because it's a royal term there for you. He's not a normal guy. I mean, he had the most immense privilege. He wrote a book about how upset he was he didn't get the biggest room in Sandringham, for goodness sake. He is not a normal guy.
No, he is. Like, he's a regular guy. Like, all of us are regular people. He was born the same as you and me. He takes his trousers off at the end of the day. He's a normal person, right?
We know, yes. As he revealed it, fancy taking them off outside of Parliament tonight. Or in Las Vegas.
I don't think any of us here can appreciate the pressure and the speculation and the paparazzi and everything else that he's been under, and his mother was killed during it. Like, let's just back off a little bit.
I mean, I think that is fair. I have given up talking about Harry and Meghan for Lent.
Good.
I will
Thank you.
Look, I think... I don't know them. Who knows? But I just think so much of the attention that they get is just people wanting to make themselves feel better by criticising other people. I mean, that's the root of it.
That's my job, dear.
It's human. Well, fine, and I'm glad you make good money, Christo. But you know, if this had happened to a charity with somebody no one ever heard of, no one would be interested.
OK, well, Barry, you'll be pleased to know that you don't have to talk about Prince Harry today because we are out of time. Thank you very much. In the next hour, though, I am going to be doing a white privilege test live on air. Why? Because Britain's wokest council, which also happens to be the council of where I live, are making their employees do it. So I'll reveal how I score very, very shortly. We're also going to be talking about a story about a horny hawk that's been attacking bald men. So watch out, anyone here? Watch out. And also, a load of other men apparently think they can outrun a horse, so they'll be competing at the Grand National. Stay tuned.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Evening. Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. The sunny skies that many of us have had through this week will continue through the weekend, but then so will that slightly frustrating wind. It's all thanks to high pressure sitting to the north, bringing the settled weather, bringing the sunshine, but the winds go clockwise around high pressure, so drawing in some cooler air from the North Sea, and that will also generate a little bit of mist and low cloud. That's going to spill in through the night, making for a fairly grey start to Saturday across the Midlands, eastern England and eastern Scotland. It'll be a chilly start as well, certainly through some sheltered glens. We'll have a frost maybe down to -3 or -4, +3, +4 in most towns and cities. It will be a drab start over the East Midlands, much of eastern England and eastern Scotland, and this ha may well stick around for a good chunk of the day on the coast, but inland it should clear away. Chilly start, yes, as I mentioned, a touch of frost, but a cracking day on the west coast of Scotland. Plenty of sunshine again for Northern Ireland, West Wales, Northwest England, Southwest England too, but it will be a cloudy start for parts of the Midlands and eastern England. Pretty hopeful that mist and low cloud will break up pretty sharply through the morning, so that certainly by late morning it's sunny almost everywhere, just with the potential for some of this mist and low cloud to stick to some North Sea coast with that breeze coming in. Now that breeze will have an impact on the day. It'll look fine and sunny, it'll look quite warm, but it'll feel cooler because of that breeze. We should still get to 18, 19, perhaps even 20 across the south, but that wind will make it feel fresher. Those North Sea coasts, some places are going to stick in single digits, and that wind will really make it feel quite fresh. That breeze is still there across eastern Scotland and the Northern Isles on Sunday. Again, some ha at times, but again, for most places, Sunday's another cracking day. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures are touched down, but the winds are a little bit lighter on Sunday. The winds are easing through next week, and the sun, for most of us, will continue to shine.
A positive outlook through the night will power through to a bright day ahead. Boxed Home Battery Storage, sponsors of weather on GB News.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
This Sunday on GB News Breakfast, we've got a special treat for you.
It's me, Angela Rippon.
For just one morning, the broadcast and Strictly Star joins the breakfast team to bring you all the news as it happens.
Nice positive story then.
Another special day here on GB News.
Well, we're still here after the last one.
GB News Breakfast with me, Stephen Dixon, and Angela Rippon, this Sunday from 6.
Yes, we'll be around for a while. Well, hello and welcome to a very special Patrick Christys tonight with, in case you were not aware, a live studio audience. Thank you very much, everybody. So, coming up on the show, we've got a bit of this. Yes, there we go. Breaking news tonight. Mother jailed for tweet in a case that shames us all. We've got the exclusive inside track on that for you. We're also going to be talking about this.
Privilege describes advantages and benefits people have simply because they are white.
It's Britain's wokest council making employees take a white privilege test. I'm about to take that test, so we'll find out, won't we? Very dripping in privilege. And Will Starmer launch a trade war with Trump? Plus,
And that's why the Labour Party has a fully costed plan to freeze energy bills this winter.
Only Labour offers a plan for real change to cut energy bills for good with GB Energy, our new publicly owned energy company.
Everyone's bills went up this week, didn't they? How do we all feel about that? But at least the King is here to cheer us all up. Now, I promise you, I'm not joking here. Later on, we are going to be joined by a carrot flute player and a leek violinist. We've only got the veggie orchestra. Hey, well, at least that could take your mind off this, though. Yes, this absolutely monstrous jihadi with links to 7/7 is about to be freed because he did a mental health course, which is reassuring for nobody.
And they're off and racing in the Randox Grand National of 2024.
I've got a hilarious story for you. So this year's Grand National is tomorrow, I believe. But how many men think they can outrun a horse? I'll reveal all. Oh, and what happened with a bald man and a very horny hawk? I have got an absolutely fantastic panel for you this evening. We have got the Labour MP for... Oh, no, we've not. We've got the former Tory MP. There we go. We've got former Tory MP and GBNews superstar Miriam Kate. We've got broadcasting royalty Christo Fufa. Journalist and top-tier fellow as well. It's JJ Anasobi. Very shortly, we're going to be going back down the pub to see how Adam Brooks is getting on. Big Marcus is still with him. What a place to be. The three Colts, the very best. So, when I come back, it's time for me to find out about my white privilege after your news.
Good evening. Your headlines at 10 o'clock. The UK's leading stock market suffered its worst daily drop in more than 5 years in the wake of Donald Trump's tariffs. The FTSE 100 closed 4.95% down, a level not seen since the COVID pandemic in March 2020. It comes as US markets have tumbled again as US President Donald Trump said China played it wrong by retaliating to his tariffs. Donald Trump said he understands China is not very happy about tariffs imposed on it, but said he hopes to continue working in good faith with Beijing. China, which faces a 54% import tax, said today it would retaliate to Trump's tariff with an additional 34% levy on US goods. Meanwhile, Mr. Trump has extended the deadline for the sale of TikTok for 75 days, saying tremendous progress had been made, but more work is needed to secure approvals. Trump added that he looked forward to working with TikTok and China to close the deal and that he did not want the app to go dark. In other news, comedian and actor Russell Brand has been charged with rape and sexual assault. Scotland Yard charged Brand with historic sexual offences after a 1.5-year-long police investigation. The former presenter, who has been living in the United States since February, is accused of sexually abusing 4 women in London and Bournemouth between 1999 and 2005. They include rape, oral rape, indecent assault and 2 counts of sexual assault. 50-year-old Brand will appear at Westminster Magistrates Court on the 2nd of May. Meanwhile, he has responded to the charges, addressing his 11.3 million followers on X. He said, "What I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity." Now, Buckingham Palace has said the King was not aware of Prince Andrew's alleged links to a Chinese spy. It comes after a new document claims that the King was aware of an investment fund in which Yang Tengbo, an alleged spy, was directly involved. Tengbo was excluded from the UK on national security grounds by the then Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, in March of 2023. A Buckingham Palace spokesman has now responded, saying while His Majesty met with the Duke and his advisor to hear outline proposals for an independent funding over the past year, the individual known as H6 was not mentioned at any time or in any way as part of these discussions. And it's hotting up as Britain sizzled with its warmest day of the year so far today, as temperatures reached 23 degrees in the south of England. Hampshire saw the highest temperature and it was warmer than Ibiza, Rhodes and Cyprus. But it's not time to get the paddling pool out just yet. Temperatures are set to fall this weekend as cooler air moves down from the north. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now it's back to Patrick.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
This is the way to kickstart your Friday, kickstart your weekend. Thank you to my wonderful studio audience and, of course, my wonderful panel. Hello and welcome. Just when you thought this country couldn't get any more bonkers, in steams Britain's Wokest Council. Westminster Council is already anti-white, in my view. They have a global majority fund where businesses led by ethnic minorities are given 20 grand. They've even tried to advertise council houses to people who can't speak English.
If you were already on the housing register, we'll write to you directly with more information.
نقوم في بلدية ويستمنستر حالياً بتغيير طريقة عمل.
Estamos cambiando la manera en que asignamos la vivienda social en Westminster.
He took the words right out of my mouth, that guy. Now, the CEO of Westminster Council is a man called Stuart Love. So he's making all his employees take a white privilege test. Do you know why he's doing it? Does anyone know anything about Stuart Love? Anyone ever heard of this guy? No. OK, well, he grew up in South Africa and he has white guilt over apartheid. So now we suffer as a result of it. Should we just check in with South Africa? See how that goes? I bet everything's fine over there now, isn't it? I bet everything's absolutely fine. Should we go to South Africa?
Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer.
Oh, yeah, they've got a political party entirely dedicated towards killing white people. So, you know, maybe he could go and fix his own country. Anyway, I thought I would take the white privilege test live on air and see how I get on. So I'm hoping here it is. OK, so my parents or guardians read to me when I was a child. Well, I don't remember it, but they're not monsters, so I'm assuming they did read to me. So there we are. I have to take annual leave for my religious holidays. Well, I've got them here because, yes, I do. It's true. I do have to take annual leave because, as a presenter, you don't often get Christmas off. In fact, I've worked the last 4 Christmases. Right? And so I would be classed as having no privilege there. But that obviously is not designed at Christians. But, gotcha. Anyway, English is my first language. It is now I'm sober. I drive a new car. Yeah, all right, I do. Fair enough. Sorry. I have a designer handbag. No, but I did buy my mum one for Christmas. So I don't know about that. I feel confident that someone in my close circle would be able to financially help if I was going through a financial hardship. My mother-in-law's here. What was that? Sorry. Always. OK, we're going to have to stay true to that then, I'm afraid, everybody. Let's scroll down. Where are we up to here? Oh, no, where am I? I live in rented accommodation. No, I do have a massive mortgage, so apparently that's privilege. That's good, isn't it? Yeah. I see members of my race, ethnic group, gender or sexual orientation negatively portrayed on the telly. All the time, actually. Every single time you turn it on. Absolutely, 100%. So I've got them there as well, haven't I? Have an illness or disability? Questionable. I'm gonna put false. Yeah. I am a carer. No, that of course is Emily's job. So, false. I think twice about calling the police when trouble occurs. Now that's true. Why? Because they're not going to bloody do anything, are they? So I decide not to. What's the point? And what have we got? I've never been stopped and searched by the police. I have been twice. Yes. But they didn't find what they were looking for.
Where did you hide it?
You know where. And a good night was had by all. OK. I do most of my food shopping at Waitrose and Marks and Spencer. Now, can I caveat this? Anyone who's come to this studio tonight knows, what's the main shop right across the studio? Marks and Spencer's. It's their head office. It's Marks and Spencer's, and it's the best shop in the world. So, unfortunately, I do all my shopping there. Now, here we go. So I might have been scoring, you know, pretty fair to middling here. You see, if you answered positively to these, you got +5 privilege. Answered negatively, it was -5. So I'm somewhere in the middle on account of the fact that I don't own a handbag and I've been stopped and searched. But unfortunately, here comes the killer blow for me. I am a white male, and that gives me +15 in the privilege stakes. +15. So, no, it's true, I am a white male. There he goes back. So I am here, I'm some of the most privileged people in society, but if I'd have not been stopped and searched, and I said I didn't have to take religious holidays, then I would almost undoubtedly be the most privileged. How do you all feel about that? Feel like it's all right? No? It's all right?
About right.
It's about right? No, I mean, the fact that employees have to do it, Barry. I mean, why should they have to do it, Barry, these employees? What do you think?
I don't think they should.
Go on, you can't defend this.
I don't think they should have to do it. But I was browsing in one of the card shops today, and I found something that might actually resonate with some of the women in the room. Right? You like this, Miriam? It's a group of men sitting around a boardroom table with one woman, and the caption is, "That's an excellent suggestion, Miss Triggs. Perhaps one of the men here would like to make it." And I suspect that women in this room and in the audience tonight will recognise that there is such a thing as bias and discrimination because they've been victims of it for blinking donkey's years.
OK.
And so I think we have to recognise that other people have also been victims of bias as well.
All right, fair enough. We'll go to the chap on the front row here and then we'll come back to the panel. Go on, so what's your name? Is it John?
Thank you, panel. My name is John.
Hello, John.
In relation to that, Barry, it intimates that this document was leaked and the council had previously denied that they had such a policy. And so that would seem to suggest that whoever leaked it is going to be in some kind of trouble. And this relates to non-disclosure agreements when linked to contracts of employment. Does the panel think that that works in the national interest or works against it, especially when it's local government employees and civil service employees? And secondly, do the panel think that the person who leaked the documents should be disciplined or face criminal action in the case of a two-tier legal system?
I see what you mean. Right, keep hold of that microphone. JJ, I'm going to go to you. So first things first, obviously, there's a bit there when it comes to the fact that, reading between the lines, the council didn't want this to come out, which is why you would slap an NDA on it, if indeed they did. Secondly, what do you make of just the whole thing there about the idea of a white privilege test?
So I think I appreciate what they're trying to do, but they've gone about it the wrong way. I did this test myself, and I come out the white privilege. You know what I mean? Exactly.
Welcome along. Brilliant.
So I'm born and raised on a council estate. Yeah. My mum and dad did read to me. Yeah. My mum was a midwife like my grandma. My dad worked for the local council, so I'm classed as not being from a poor background, despite being from a poor background. Do I see members of my race and ethnicity and gender being appearing on TV negatively? Yes. Don't we all? Yeah. Of course we do. Do I have to take off holiday from my religion? I'm Catholic. Yes. But I choose to do it at Christmas time. Easter I'll work through. Same way I work with Jewish and Muslim people. Some of them have holidays for the religious holidays. Some of them choose not to. So I think this test is tosh, quite frankly.
The test is tosh. Would you agree with that, do you? Christys?
I'm still stuck on the designer handbag question.
How many?
I can't put the number in. It's just like such inane questions. I mean, you do shop in like Waitrose or Marks and Spencer's. That's not white privilege. That's just normality. Surely, savages are we? That's just normal. I guess. Well,
I shop at Lidl.
Well, that's the thing. Actually, a lot of rich people shop at Lidl and Aldi because that's where you get the biggest savings.
That's why they've got money.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I spent mine on designer handbags.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think that what's frustrating about it is that what is considered normal to most people is being considered in this test as privilege. parents should read to their children. That's not privilege. That's normal. You know, not being discriminated against because of your colour or whatever else is normal. And so I think, as you said, kind of nice idea, completely bonkers way of going about it.
OK, go on.
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. On one level, it's hilarious because who chose those questions? I mean, what about having a handbag makes you privileged? But fundamentally, underneath it all, it is this kind of attempt, this kind of revolutionary neo-Marxist attempt to get rid of everything that we've called normal for hundreds of years and replace it with things that really hold down people with merit, people with ambition, people who are willing to work hard. That's what it's all about. Totally wrong. I mean, I hate the word privilege because everybody is unique. Everybody has a different background. Who can say what's privileged or isn't? We've been talking about Prince Harry. His mother died. I wouldn't want to swap his upbringing with mine for all the money in the world because that's a terrible thing to happen. But actually, the way the most privileged people in this country, the most privileged children, are those who are born to married parents who stay married. It doesn't matter how poor you are, what class you're from, where you live, that is the best possible life statistically you can have. And most of the differences that we see in race, in gender, come down to family structure. And that's what the race report found. That's what the Lost Boys report found. If you want to say I'm privileged, that's where it starts.
We have got to go very, very shortly, but I'll come back to some of these points, because thank you very much for everyone who's been making them. But the reason why I have to is because, in case you weren't here in the first hour, everyone in the audience knows what's coming. It's time for the Great British Giveaway. And in what is a terrifying window into my future career as a telly-salesman, it's our biggest ever prize, and you could drive away with a brand-new 4-berth motorhome worth £67,000. And that's not all. Oh, no. Oh, no. How much money is there, Barry, in tax-free cash?
£5,000.
Oh, well, you want to be in it to win it? I certainly do. Here's how.
We're making the Great British Giveaway a getaway with a chance to win our biggest prize to date. You could be the proud owner of this Elneg Baron 560 motorhome, worth over £67,000. Supplied brand new from Marquis Leisure, you could be exploring Great Britain and beyond this summer and making memories to last a lifetime. This motorhome comfortably sleeps 4, has its own kitchen and bathroom spaces, and comes complete with all of the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle of this calibre. And that's not all, as we'll also give you £5,000 in tax-free cash so you can get started on your next adventure as soon as possible. For a chance to win a motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB13 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 6th of June. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, good luck, everybody. And, yes, anyway, this is one for the viewers at home or the listeners on the radio. But can you please try to guess what we'll be talking about when I come back? As Prime Minister of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, I, like everybody else, is holding its breath today ahead of President Trump's massive tariff announcement. Now, hey, look, I'm quietly confident. I've always got on really well with the Don. I've always shown him great respect.
Didn't David Lammy call him a Nazi?
That was ages ago. Weren't you ever called names at school, mate? I mean... Anyway, we've got a lot in common. We get on really well. I think it's a special...
Did he also call him a woman-hating sociopath?
Yeah, look, OK, all right, it doesn't really matter. Everyone's moved on from then, you know? It's fine, it's fine. Anyway, so, special relationship. I've laid the groundwork here, and I think thanks to my work...
Didn't the new ambassador call him a fascist?
Look, everyone's been called a fascist at some point, you know, so whatever. Shut up. OK. Anyway, thanks to my work, I think we're going to get a big fat zero in the old tariff front. I mean, after all, I went over there, didn't I? Invited him for dinner with the King, so... Oh, there it is. You're looking at it now. Don't we both look happy? Yeah, I went over there. Humiliated myself, really. Didn't I? Yeah. Anyway, lost a lot of friends over that. So, anyway, shall we see how we get on with the tariffs. Let's have a look. It's time to tune in. I think he's due on any second now, isn't he? Due on any second. Right. Oh, here he comes. Oh, we're up. It's time for the United Kingdom. What's he got to say about us, hey? Great relationship, special relationship.
Of America, United Kingdom 10%, and we'll go 10%. So we'll do the same thing.
10%. 10%. What? Dinner's off for a start with the king. It's like 10%. I knew we should never have left the European Union. I knew it. I should have stuck to my guns. I wanted that second referendum. I'm going to call a second referendum. There's no way he'd treat our friends in Brussels like they're our best friends anyway. We should never have left. I've always been a Remainer. Always wanted a second referendum. Oh, it's the European Union. I bet he gives them bloody zero.
European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think of the European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half.
20? It's 20%. It's double us, isn't it? Huh? Double. Well, thank God for Brexit. Hey, so there we go. Brexit.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
First of all, are we talking about the West and the East, or is this a Western phenomenon?
Wholly Western phenomenon, which excludes China, where things are still in a healthy state.
What's happening in the West, then?
It's been going on for quite a while, and it started with the universities, and then affected the Biennales conferences. Basically, it's this left drift and the sense that, as in Vogue, we should care about the downtrodden, the marginal groups, the global south. We should criticize what's going on, and there's a sense of illegitimacy with everything which now is developed in most of the real-world developments we are, for instance, doing, as being neoliberal architecture. And so the discourse is shifting away, ignoring that and saying this is fallen, this is commercial, this is compromised. And we have a discourse about another world caring and looking after those who have been discriminated against. And that pulls a discourse and critical debate away from what's going on. And therefore what's going on is bereft of critique, of exposure, of debate, and becomes a craft.
We are looking at, on the screen at the moment, at some of the great buildings that you have been involved in. So tell me about the background to these. I mean, you were one of the architects here. What was your education? What was your inspiration? What led you to create buildings that look like that?
So I was originally educated in Stuttgart, Germany. I came here as a student, went to the South Bank University in exchange program, and as a student joined Zaha Hadid, who was a rising star in the field. And at that time, there was really a thriving discourse in architecture, grappling with this new world.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back, everybody. OK, so I just want to know, in this room right now, who's quite pro-Trump tariff?
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea that he's doing it. You got your hand up there, sir. OK. Is anyone absolutely dead against Trump tariff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, OK. A few hands going up there. So, Donald Trump has told the world it's a great time to get rich as stocks plunged around the globe in a deepening global trade war. But might there be an upside to some of these tariffs? Could we bag ourselves a bargain? Experts say that products from electric vehicles to alcohol could become cheaper for British consumers. So I'm joined again by my wonderful panel. We've got JJ, Christo, Miriam and Barry. Before I go to the audience, you are, JJ, you're banging in favour of these tariffs, aren't you?
Yeah. I think Donald Trump, like him or love him, no one hates him really, everyone likes him a little bit. He is doing what's best for America. It's bad for us. Other countries are going to be much worse. Vietnam, Cambodia, etc. Their tariffs are going to go through the roof. It's going to be harder for them. But it's doing what's best for America, because what this means is it forces Americans to say, I can't afford to buy that British car. I'm going to buy an American-made car. I'm going to have to buy more American-made products. That raises money for America. They can invest it in the US. That's how it works. And I think for Trump, he's doing purely what is best for the States. We don't like it. Europe doesn't like it. But so what? So it's not our country. Trump's doing what's best for America, and Americans should love him for this.
Vote in America. Oh. Wow. For a room full of people who weren't that pro-tariff a minute ago, maybe... I'll tell you what, sir, go on, what would you like to say? And what's your name, please?
Name is Sean Doyle, and it's about cultural exports to the US. A lot of talk about trade and products and stuff like that, manufactured goods, but one of the biggest exports from the UK to the US is cultural exports, like movies, television, theatre productions, actors and all that stuff, music. And as I work in that business and have worked for 50 years at the highest level, then there is going to be a lot of repercussions in terms of bringing stuff over to the States because of all the tariffs and everything else. So it's going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of people in the entertainment business. Yeah.
Thank you very much for making that point, by the way. Unless, of course, this isn't the final point, it's the starting point for a negotiation, Miriam.
Yes, it could be, and we all know that Donald Trump likes to cut a deal. But I agree with JJ. I think there's going to be a period of pain, and I think even Donald Trump's team don't know if this is going to work. But what is Trump trying to do? He is trying to restructure the global economy, because for the last 50 years, Western nations have got rich. Well, the elites have got rich. Countries like China have grown enormously at the expense of poor working-class people in the West. And that's particularly true in America, in the Rust Belt, and it's definitely true here in what we call the Red Wall or the post-industrial towns. And what's happened is all the manufacturing jobs have been outsourced to places with cheaper labour, like China, and working-class people in Britain and America and some parts of Europe have been left with no meaningful work, have become poorer and poorer, and the divide between rich and poor has got bigger and bigger. They are Trump's base, and he was elected on a promise to fix the economy for them. Now, there is going to be a period of pain, and there will be inflation in the US and probably here. But the point of the tariffs is to revive American manufacturing, to start at the steel making again, to start at the car making again, to give people meaningful jobs. And I do agree with that. It's a much more equitable economy when you make things yourself for yourself. And if we get there, there will be a period of pain, but if we get there, then I think it's a very good thing.
Yeah. Barry, would you take the opposite view?
I take a more nuanced view because I agree with JJ and Miriam that that is potentially what could work. But what I'm aware of is that it doesn't help us in the UK. And actually, if we're saying, oh, yeah, we support Trump, well, and Trump is for the American people, well, why are we supporting Trump? We should be supporting ourselves.
We're not supporting the idea of a leader who is unashamedly favouring his own people.
Fine.
Maybe we want that.
But that then doesn't mean that you support the tariffs. It means you favour leaders who actually lead for their own country rather than for somebody else. So I'm not in favour of the tariffs. I think the tariffs will cause a lot of pain around the world. We've already seen 3.8 trillion pounds, not dollars, knocked off the stock markets globally. And that means that everybody's pension fund is a little bit poorer than it was 2 days ago. But also, I think the key thing here is you were talking in the first part of this Patrick, about how electrical goods here could become cheaper. Great. Why? Because other countries do what's called trade diversion. They can't get their stuff into America, so they bring it into Britain. They dump it on us cheaper, but that means we're not then making those things here.
Isn't it quite interesting? Because when it first landed and everything, I was thinking, oh gosh, I wonder how Keir Starmer's going to react to this. Whether or not now he's suddenly a Brexiteer. You know, if we were in the European Union, we'd be paying more, wouldn't we? We'd be paying 10% more. Is that not right, Keir Starmer? You know, a man who yet again is now going to have to acknowledge he's on the wrong side of history, Christo. A bit like you.
Yeah. Well, yes. I am a Ramona. I've come out. Look, I agree with everyone actually a little bit, and the thing is, I think this could potentially, though, be the wrong answer to the right question, because I absolutely see what he's doing. And I watched Question Time last night, actually.
How very dare you?
You know,
that's one of the white privilege.
Getting 15 points for that. But one of the panellists, I can't remember which one, was saying, look, what we all need to realise is all that Donald Trump cares about is America. And I thought, well, yeah. That's good. I wish we had a little bit of that here. My worry is, though, that the very thing that Donald Trump fears the most, which is always the rise of China, actually, to Barry's point, the fact that everyone will then end up buying more cheaper products from China because they're not going to the States, will actually see China become more powerful as a result of what he's bringing in.
All right, I just want to quickly bring, I believe, have you got a point to make, sir? Is it Jack, is it?
Yeah, it's Jack. Yeah, so it's more to JJ's point. When and if you think the British government will start supporting British people the same way Trump has started to support Americans so quickly?
Yeah, I don't. Good question. I don't think there's a British politician who would be as bold as Trump. Apart from, at the moment, maybe Robert Jenrick. He seems to be the only person who is speaking out unabashedly and unashamedly to say what he really thinks. Patrick's a PM.
I'm here, mate, yeah.
But Donald Trump, his charisma, everything that he does, and his boldness, I don't see anyone in the UK who's going to match that and go whole hog like he does.
Can I just say to the gentleman who said Farage, what was really interesting to me was when they had the statement about tariffs in Parliament the other day, not a single Reform politician turned up in the chamber to talk about it.
Does that matter, then?
Yes, it does, because that is... Parliament is the debating chamber of the nation, and this is the most important thing to hit our economy in a very long time, and the people who supposedly have a very good relationship with Donald Trump didn't bother to turn out.
All right. Well, we've got to go to a break, but I've seen some hands going up here, so it's going to kick off. Up next.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time in the United Kingdom, and it will last for a very, very long time.
Two really devastating issues for free speech today. Firstly, woman convicted of silently praying in her own head outside an abortion clinic. There was also another story that I'm about to reveal to you, courtesy of Alison Pearson at The Telegraph as well, about the treatment of a woman who's in prison based around social media posts during the summer disorder. I've got all that, and very shortly it'll be Greatest Britain Union Jackass time as well. Don't go anywhere.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
After some very strong winds in recent days in the Canaries, things looking a little calmer as we head into next week. Plenty of sunshine over the central Med. There's a weather front approaching Madeira. That'll bring some rain later on through the weekends. Plenty of showers over northern Spain on Saturday, but much of the south of Spain dry and sunny. Some of those showers could affect Barcelona. Plenty of showers across Greece and Turkey as well. Quite a sunny Saturday for Italy. Temperatures rising in Barcelona by Sunday before turning colder next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
The royal family is an enduring symbol of tradition, unity and pride for Britain. At GB News, we celebrate what makes this country great. In our new royal newsletter series, you can join me, Cameron Walker, for Inside the Palace, an exclusive look every week that takes you beyond the gates and brings you the very latest from those at the heart of the monarchy. Never miss a royal moment again. Sign up now. Go to gbnews.com/royal newsletter and get the latest straight to your inbox.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, and as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/your-say. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Thank you again to our wonderful live studio audience. Is free speech in the UK under attack? Well, Alison Pearson, the star columnist at the Daily Telegraph, has written a powerful piece today calling for the release of Lucy Connolly. So, if the name sounds unfamiliar, Lucy Connolly was sentenced to 2 years and 7 months in prison after tweets she sent during last summer's disorder. This comes as reports show that the White House is basically seeking to support a lady who was today convicted for breaching what's called a buffer zone outside an abortion clinic actually in Bournemouth, and questions if whether or not free speech is alive or not in the UK. Certainly in the case of Lucy Connolly, anyway, and the article by Alison Pearson reveals that she's been denied things like home visits, which normally a prison at her category of prison would be allowed. This is all claimed, of course. Essentially, it's a breach of human rights as far as that's concerned, the kind of which, of course, was imposed upon people like Myra Hindley, which this lady, while she might have tweeted some unpalatable things, is certainly not of the calibre of that. Miriam, there's two stories rolled into one here. You've got the abortion issue and you've got Lucy Connolly. Do you feel as though this shows that free speech is under attack in Britain?
Yes, absolutely, but they are two different cases, and I think we've got to separate out what's gone wrong in each case. I mean, with the lady in prison, what she wrote on social media was horrible, but it is something that people might just say down the pub, and there should certainly be social consequences to being nasty. People should stop talking to you. Maybe they want to stop being your friend. You know, that's kind of human nature. But should there be criminal consequences? I'm not so sure. But then the other case, I think, is actually even more worrying, because this law came in the last Parliament, and I'm ashamed to say that the abortion buffer zones law came in because enough enough Conservative MPs voted for it that meant that the Labour amendment got through. And it's absolutely ridiculous. We do have a right to say anything we like in public spaces in this country, and this lady was not protesting, she was not harassing. It's illegal to harass. If you harass someone, you can be arrested. She was holding a placard silently. And let's be honest, this isn't really about free speech, it's about abortion, and that's why it's so contentious, and people don't want to talk about that. We're happy that people are passionate about the environment, we're happy that people are passionate about stopping oil being used, but we get very worried when people are passionate about saving the lives of the unborn, and that is what she was trying to do.
So the Stop Oil protesters were put in jail. So, I mean, we're not happy about some of the protests
what I'm
that are
saying,
going on.
but we don't create no protest zones for green people, do we?
Well,
we don't create no protest zones for people who want to complain about inflation.
That was why the Quaker meeting house was actually raided by the police, and those people were carted off.
But they were doing potentially something illegal.
Potentially?
Yeah, but holding...
They weren't doing anything illegal.
I am not defending it. I don't think they should have been arrested. But the point is, there are now areas in this country where you are not allowed to pray in your head for this specific purpose. And I think it's absolutely egregious.
There was, in the case again of Lucy Connolly, which is something that Alison Pearson reveals because she's spoken to the family, obviously what she was accused of was basically spare time, a child carer, and a lot of those children are ethnic minorities. She looks after children from Somali families, from all sorts of different families. In fact, as her mum is quoted as saying, it's like the blimmin' United Nations in here, which makes you wonder, really, whether or not she is an out-and-out racist, and therefore whether or not she deserved as long as she got in prison. JJ?
Well, I think that's kind of irrelevant. The fact is, she puts stuff... If I say something now that's racist, and then I say straight away, sorry, I didn't mean that, the words have gone. She tweeted something that was racist, she deleted it afterwards, but the words have been out there. The fact that she looks after ethnic minority kids doesn't mean that she's not racist. We have police officers who are convicted of racism, but they are serving communities with black, Asian, whatever, everyone in there. We have police officers convicted of assaulting women, but they're out to serve and protect women. So I think the fact that she works in a childcare is kind of relevant. The fact is, she did something that was deemed bad enough for her to be put in jail, the same way as anyone else would have been the same.
There's some kind of thing to it, though, which is the scale of it. How many people really saw that tweet? Did anyone, as a result... Do you not have to prove that someone has seen that and then gone out and acted on it, do you think?
If it incites to violence, and that did incite to violence, I'm not going to
Humza
repeat
Yousaf
it.
has today put a tweet video out. Jordan, I appreciate, obviously, nothing to do with the Labour Party, but it's put... yeah, go on, go up the microphone to that lady there at the back. But Humza Yousaf has today tweeted out a video saying that the best way to stop people like Elon Musk is to hit them where it hurts. Hit them where it hurts financially. And what does that really mean? To a lot of people, it means going out and attacking Teslas. Is what's happening. Which
I don't think that's what it means.
I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
Hitting them where it hurts means don't buy their product.
Yeah.
OK, no, because I know this, because we've had it here at GB News. It also means make it very uncomfortable for them to walk the streets. It also means make it very uncomfortable for them to have views in polite social company. He gets away with it by saying things like don't buy their products. I absolutely 100% categorically think that he knows what he's doing. I think he knows what he's doing.
We all laughed about the white privilege.
Go on, we haven't got a microphone.
That's reverse racism, isn't it? A white privilege.
We haven't got a microphone for you, but what's... Well, go on, here it is at the front, quickly, go on.
Yeah, we all had a laugh and a joke about the white privilege document from Westminster City Council, but isn't that reverse racism? We're not appalled by it.
You think the white privilege thing is anti-white?
Well, we're not appalled by it, are we? We just had a laugh about it.
It doesn't incite to violence. The point is that the tweet that the woman put out was inciting violence, or it was deemed... The court
absolutely, yeah, if it's inciting violence.
And that we should all condemn.
OK.
Yeah, but we should still hold Westminster City Council accountable for a white privilege...
Yeah, but I'll just which probably your point is probably we just shouldn't have any of it, right? Which is fair enough.
Not at all.
OK, all right. Now, look, when we come back, we are going to be getting on to what I think is many people's favourite part of the show, which is Greatest Britain and Unity and Jackass. It needs a lot of audience participation. And we're going to be having a bit of this as well. Oh, yes. We're going to be playing the carrot live.
This Sunday on GB News Breakfast, we've got a special treat for you.
It's me, Angela Rippon.
For just one morning, the broadcast and Strictly Star joins the breakfast team to bring you all the news as it happens.
Nice positive story then.
Another special day here on GB News.
Well, we're still here after the last one.
GB News Breakfast with me, Stephen Dixon, and Angela Rippon this Sunday from 6.
Yes, we'll be around for a while.
Evening. Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. The sunny skies that many of us have had through this week will continue through the weekend, but then so will that slightly frustrating wind. It's all thanks to high pressure sitting to the north, bringing the settled weather, bringing the sunshine, but the winds go clockwise around high pressure, so drawing in some cooler air from the North Sea, and that will also generate a little bit of mist and low cloud. That's going to spill in through the night, making for a fairly grey start to Saturday across the Midlands, eastern England and eastern Scotland. It'll be a chilly start as well, certainly through some sheltered glens. We'll have a frost maybe down to -3 or -4, +3, +4 in most towns and cities. It will be a drab start over the East Midlands, much of eastern England and eastern Scotland, and this may well stick around for a good chunk of the day on the coast, but inland it should clear away. Chilly start, yes, as I mentioned, a touch of frost, but a cracking day on the west coast of Scotland. Plenty of sunshine again for Northern Ireland, West Wales, Northwest England, Southwest England too, but it will be a cloudy start for parts of the Midlands and eastern England. Pretty hopeful that mist and low cloud will break up pretty sharply through the morning, so that certainly by late morning it's sunny almost everywhere, just with the potential for some of this mist and low cloud to stick to some North Sea coast with that breeze coming in. Now that breeze will have an impact on the day. It'll look fine and sunny, it'll look quite warm, but it'll feel cooler because of that breeze. We should still get to 18, 19, perhaps even 20 across the south, but that wind will make it feel fresher. Those North Sea coasts, some places are going to stick in single digits, and that wind will really make it feel quite fresh. That breeze is still there across eastern Scotland and the Northern Isles on Sunday. Again, some har at times, but again, for most places, Sunday's another cracking day. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures are touched down, but the winds are a little bit lighter on Sunday. The winds are easing through next week, and the sun, for most of us, will continue to shine.
OK, welcome back, everybody. Now, so it's not... Yes, hello. OK, yes. Now, in some important news before we get to Greatest Britain Union Jackass, King Charles had a carrot-playing moment at a Windsor reception, joining the London Vegetable Orchestra for some homegrown entertainment. Let's remind ourselves of it, shall we? Well, there we go. So I'm now joined, I'm very pleased to say, by the founding member of the Vegetable Orchestra. It is Matthias Meinharter, who is joining us from Vienna. Matthias, thank you very, very much. Tremendous to have you on the show. And I believe you might have brought some instruments.
Yes, I have brought some instruments. I mean, I have brought my favorite instruments. That's the leek violin, actually. So you have the leek violin like this. You hold it like the body of the leek violin is this, like a leek. And the other one is the bow, and I have to colophonium. And then I play like this.
Right. And, well, it sounds like the real thing.
Yes,
doesn't it, really? Well, it's good. I mean, I suppose it won't annoy the neighbours as much as a real violin, which is all right. You've got something else with you, have you? Is that right? As well as this something that was King Charles themed?
Yes, actually, yeah. I have a carrot recorder, but I really suck at carrot recorder because I had to play it as a child. I mean, no, the carrot recorder, a real recorder, but I have another carrot flute, which is a lotus carrot flute, and it's very simple. It has a big hole here and a small hole here, and you can play a lot of music with this.
Well, I don't believe you can play that, Matthias.
Oh, well.
I don't believe you can play it.
Listen.
Oh, well Well done. Matthias, can I just say a massive thank you? I'm sorry it was short and sweet, but to be honest with you, I just thought it was one of the best segments I've ever done here. Thank you, Matthias.
Thank you very much.
I can guarantee you my producers will be calling you again very soon. So, Matthias, everybody.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Lovely. All right.
I had no idea you could have so much fun with a root vegetable. I really didn't know.
Liar.
Buys up, Christo. It's time for today's Greatest Britain Union Jackass. Here we go. Who should I start with first? Let's go Greatest Britain. I've got Barry first. Who's your Greatest Britain, please?
My Greatest Britain is a woman called April Fuller. She wrote an article for the UK Defence Journal that said we had go faster stripes on our aircraft carriers, and the Russians believed it. April Fuller.
Okay. Let's keep this going. Go on, keep it quick.
My Greatest Britain is Molly Kingsley, who was one of the founders of Us For Them, who campaigned against lockdown, school breaches, and against children being given untested vaccines. She's now hot on the trail of getting kids protected from online harms, and standing up for kids is always difficult, especially against the big tech giants. So
all right.
Very brave lady.
OK, I'm going for the Gatwick Airport. That's who I've gone for. Now, it's very rare that I would praise Gatwick Airport. I've always thought that if the Earth needed the enema, Gatwick would be the good point of entry. However, I have altered my view based on the fact that they have relaxed the 100-millilitre rule, and you can now put it in your luggage and in your hand luggage when you go away, meaning that actually something for the last 20 years that we've put up with is now going to go.
Lovely. JJ.
Thank you.
Mine was going to be Donald Trump for his tariffs, but my American fiancée messaged me during the break and had a go, so I'm retracting my comments about Donald Trump, and I am now against him and his tariffs.
OK, very quickly, who are you in favour for? Jay, we've got the Russians falling for April Fools, have we? We've also got Miriam Sessions. Who do we think? Anyone just shout a name at me? Shout a name. Christo, Gatwick. Let's go to Union Jackass. We've got about 90 seconds left on the show. 90 seconds. Barry, Union Jackass.
Hertfordshire Police for saying that whilst they had not been responsible for catching the Harris hawk that had been dive-bombing local residents, they had maintained a low-level presence in the area.
So this is a hawk, and I'm not joking now, that was hormonal and had been dive-bombing bald men. Watch out! It's OK. Who's your Union Jackass?
Westminster Council, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, OK. This is all the white privilege stuff. Christo, go on.
The attack on a British institution, which is, of course, pub banter. Angela Rayner is my nominee for that reason, because pub banter, it's a part of being British, it's a part of joking, it's one of those things.
So basically, staff at pubs can report...
banter.
Banter. Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Which is, we wonder why the pubs are dying out, don't we? JJ, who's your Union Jackass, please?
All the deluded men in the world who think they can run faster than a thoroughbred horse. It's a true story. Men think they can run faster than a horse. I can run faster than a horse, but I'm not deluded.
No. This is the story that 1 in 50 men genuinely think they can run faster than a horse. So, who's in favour of JJ's horsemen? Anyone? No? I thought I was going to win. So, the ban of pub banter. I really thought you were going to win that. Miriam's Westminster Council. Barry Gardner, Barry Horny Hawk. Westminster Council, there we go. Other councils are available. Well, there we go. Well, thank you very much, everybody. I must say, it's been a wonderful show. Thank you to my lovely panel, but most importantly, thank you to you, everyone here who's turned up and given up your Friday night to be here. So much appreciated. I hope to see you next week.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Evening. Yes, it's time for your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. The sunny skies that many of us have had through this week will continue through the weekend, but then so will that slightly frustrating wind. It's all thanks to high pressure sitting to the north, bringing the settled weather, bringing the sunshine, but the winds go clockwise around high pressure, so drawing in some cooler air from the North Sea, and that will also generate a little bit of mist and low cloud. That's going to spill in through the night, making for a fairly grey start to Saturday across the Midlands, Eastern England and Eastern Scotland. It'll be a chilly start as well, certainly through some sheltered glens. We'll have a frost maybe down to -3 or -4, +3, +4 in most towns and cities. It will be a drab start over the East Midlands, much of Eastern England and Eastern Scotland, and this ha may well stick around for a good chunk of the day on the coast, but inland it should clear away. Chilly start, yes, as I mentioned, a touch of frost, but a cracking day on the west coast of Scotland. Plenty of sunshine again for Northern Ireland, West Wales, Northwest England, Southwest England too, but it will be a cloudy start for parts of the Midlands and Eastern England. Pretty hopeful that mist and low cloud will break up pretty sharply through the morning, so that certainly by late morning it's sunny almost everywhere, just with the potential for some of this mist and low cloud to stick to some North Sea coast with that breeze coming in. Now that breeze will have an impact on the day. It'll look fine and sunny, it'll look quite warm, but it'll feel cooler because of that breeze. We should still get to 18, 19, perhaps even 20 across the south, but that wind will make it feel fresher. Those North Sea coasts, some places are going to stick in single digits, and that wind will really make it feel quite fresh. That breeze is still there across eastern Scotland and the Northern Isles on Sunday. Again, some ha at times, but again, for most places, Sunday's another cracking day. Plenty of sunshine. Temperatures are touched down, but the winds are a little bit lighter on Sunday. The winds are easing through next week, and the sun, for most of us, will continue to shine.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the